Hey friends! Two questions. How much can you tell from a property listing on a site? How can you work with the information that you have there? Notice that I didn't say anything so far about the interior design, and that is because I don't care. I'm Axi, your favorite YouTube architect, and today I'm taking you on the process of analyzing property listings, whether for houses or for apartments. Today's video is going to be all about non-monetary criteria and could actually make a difference between two properties that could have the same price. Also, a disclaimer, what I talk about here is not specific to Tenerife. This applies to basically anything that you would see anywhere. It's extremely general. Having the budget, you just move on with the things that I'm going to talk about. The first two of them are all about location, location, location. So location is so important that I want to dedicate two separate criteria for it. The first one is the general location. I will take an example to explain this. I'm going to look in Adeje, which is a municipality that I like very much in Tenerife. So Adeje doesn't seem like a very big region, but it still has sub-regions. And the first thing that I see here is that the highway crosses the region in half. So already there's like something to think about. Where would I want to be here in regards to this highway? Like, would I want to be closer to the sea and under the highway? Or would I want to be in the upper part of Adeje, which has beautiful views and is further from the sea? So these are two different characteristics. So this is the first criteria. Think about how important the region is for you. Do you really, really, really want to be in that specific place? Or are you open to other areas as well? And you should put a lot of thought into it, and you should really think if you're open to other areas, and if you're not, you should never look there. That is just a waste of time. For today's video, I'm not going to restrict too much. I am interested in everything that's in Adeje. I am gonna put my imaginary budget of 260. For the purpose of this video, I see here two duplexes in Calao Salvaje in Adeje. They seem very similar, and the bigger one is cheaper. I'm gonna have a look at the more expensive one. I'm going to move on to criteria number 2, which is again about location, but this time is about extremely specific location. So what I'm gonna do with this listing is I'm gonna have a look through all the photos, and before anything else, I will look for markers that will help me identify exactly where this is. You can see here the shape of the pool, which is a very straightforward marker. And what I'm gonna do next is look on maps in this area for the sizes of this pool. So I can see there's a round one and an organic one. And in maps, this is really easy to see, so I'll take some time to look exactly for this complex and see exactly where it is. So definitely I don't see the pool from the street view, but I see the details. Yeah, this is definitely the one. Obviously for this one and for any complex which has a pool, it's very easy to look on maps and to identify the complex by the pool. Other markers that I would use and that help me here as well are the treatment of the facades, the shapes of the roof. And then if I don't really find anything, it could be in some cases that you don't find anything. I will look what you can see from the windows inside, and then I will use that as a reference to identify roughly the location. So why is it important for me to be a semi-stalker and find out the location of this place? If I know the location of this place, I can look what's around it. I can see here there's a banana plantation next to it. It's very close to the sea. It's a bit remote in regards to the rest of the village. It already gives me a lot of information about infrastructure, transport, how close are the supermarkets, what do I have close, are the neighbors close, do I like how close they are. So this already gives me a lot of information about the location, which I can read from maps. I don't need necessarily to be there. And it could be that some things I will like, it's always like that. Some things I will like, I will say like, hey, this is amazing, this is so close to the sea. Some things I may not like, which is where is the nearest supermarket. It's actually not that far. So there's always going to be things that you like and you don't like about a location. Obviously, no location is 100% perfect. But as long as you put a bit of time into actually observing all of this and realizing, hey, I like this, hey, I don't like this, then you will make a more informed decision. Every single information that you can find about it, it's definitely worth it. So criteria number 3 is very important one. It's about the layout of the apartment, which I care very, very much about. I think bad layouts are extremely uncomfortable and unacceptable from my point of view. So what I will do now is go back and forth to the pictures and use the information that I see there in order to try to draw a very, very rough sketch of the apartment. I won't draw to scale or very precisely. Sometimes I would just even do like blobs to mark rooms. And for example, here, I cannot understand fully the whole layout. I don't see how you access the bathroom, but I will still try to do it. I always ask myself some questions which are very important for me personally. Some of them are, would a 180 bed fit into the bedroom? This is very important for me, and I don't care about how much space remains on each side. It could be 40 centimeters. But I really care that the big bed fits into the big bedroom. I looked at a lot of apartments, and some of them simply had the double bed in the main bedroom put against the wall, which meant that like a 180 double bed would never fit in there. Another one that I look for is, can the living room be arranged in another way? For example, a living room with doors on 4 sides is more difficult to arrange than a living room with doors on 2 sides, right? And that's why I always keep this in mind. Is this worth it? Like, is this worth to have this room, which is a bit more difficult to arrange? Maybe it's worth it, you know, maybe that apartment of that house is exceptional. Another thing that I look for is, for example, how big is the kitchen? So in the normal kitchen, obviously all the appliances fit in there. Not necessarily a table, but all appliances. However, I've also seen houses or apartments in which the fridge was in the hallway or somewhere else, like in a different space than the kitchen. Again, this is not a complete turn off for me, but if I don't have like a lot of things that I like, then I'm like, yeah, maybe this is not worth it. You know, I will never like to go every day to the living room to get the food from the fridge. Right? And this is a personal analysis. So something that works for me or that I talked about here doesn't necessarily apply to you. Every person has their own things that they really care about. Someone that really likes to cook for sure wants a super big kitchen. So the point of this is not to have a full complete list for a perfect apartment or house. The purpose of this analysis is to be informed and to understand exactly the whereabouts, the layout, and how your life would fit into this specific property. So the fourth thing I want to talk about are actually details. And a lot of times they're not the main point of the conversation that you would have with a real estate agent. These details actually are not details. They are very important. Again, this is very subjective and each person has something very different to see in a property. In Tenerife, for example, it is extremely important to have a parking space. So if I would buy property here, I will always look if the property has a parking space. In case it doesn't have, then you would have to be prepared to go a few rounds every day in order to find a parking space. And it happened to us when we were traveling somewhere that we looked for a parking space for an hour. So what I would do here is go back and read all the information that they have here. So this one has a parking space included in the price, which is very good because sometimes they have a parking space, but it's not included in the price and you would have to pay around 20,000 euros extra to get the parking space as well, which they sell separately and, you know, like someone else could buy it. Another location where a parking space would be extremely important would be dense city in the city center, where if you really want to have a car, there's no chance of surviving there without a parking space. And I noticed that this is very important for a lot of people nowadays. So I also see here that the energy performance certificate is very low. So in Tenerife, I don't really care about this. The buildings here are not well insulated, like none of them. Almost nobody has heating. In the south, there's no heating needed actually. So basically the insulation would work against the heat, but it's a non-existent. So I wouldn't even bother with this. However, if I would look anywhere else, especially in Europe, especially now, this would be something very important. Not only I would look at this, if I decide to see the apartment, I would actually ask the real estate agent or the owner how much do they pay for the heating of the apartment monthly in the winter. Notice that I didn't say anything so far about the interior design, and that is because I don't care. I genuinely don't care about this. The interior design is something that is easily redone. It can be done with a low budget as well. The chances of finding something that I 100% like are so low that this is not even a criteria for me. I don't care about it. What I want to point here, though, it's very important. You shouldn't be fascinated or tricked by the appearance of interior design. That is not the main criteria of a house. So it's location, it's again location, it's layout, and its details. And it's not interior design. And I have a good example for this. Someone asked me, we saw 2 apartments which were almost identical in the same complex. So the difference between the two apartments was 100K, and then I was in shock when I heard this, and that this person actually like tended to prefer the more expensive one just because it looked nicer in the inside. And then I said, okay, let's make an estimation of how much that furniture actually costs. We estimated how much like couches, beds, terrace furniture cost. We added them up, and I think it didn't go over 30K. That apartment was overpriced, even considering the stuff that was inside. There wasn't anything that was extremely special or unique. It was just like nice furniture, but not unique furniture. It's very easy, you know, like if you get fascinated by something just because it has nice furniture and it's more expensive, just do like a very rough estimation. How much does a couch cost? How much does your favorite couch cost? How much are a table, desk, bed, anything? Like there's not actually that much furniture that goes into a house. You'll see if it's actually worth it. The color of the walls and the furniture are the easiest things to change. The location, the layout, and the details like parking or energy efficiency are not easy to change. Sometimes, a lot of times, they're impossible to change. If you go into a place, that's the location you're gonna get. You're not going to change that. I hope this video was useful. I hope you found some new things to look at. Let me know what you think, of course. Let me know if you have any other ideas of things that you find important. And I'll see you in the next one.